So at my jiu-jitsu gym, there is no such thing as grading. I'm guessing that's pretty similar to most gyms out there, but obviously there are some gyms out there with a grading system. So at my gym, you don't really go through a test, and it's actually pretty informal. So after class, you might get a stripe, or you might even get a new belt. A lot of time it's a surprise, like you actually have no idea whether you're going to get or not. But there are some periods where there's more likely to have grading. So for example, mid-year and end of the year. But then again, there are some times that people get promoted in random times of the year. But one thing for sure, if your gym does not have grading, then there is actually no way that you can know that whether you're close to a blue belt or not. And there's nothing out there to tell you what you should know to get your blue belt. And this actually makes it really difficult for new white belts to actually gauge on whether they are close to a blue belt or not. And to make things even more confusing, it's different for everyone. For example, a white belt in their 50s will perform very differently from someone who is in their 20s. And then you'll go into weight disparity and the size of the person. All I'm saying is that it's subjective. Your coach might look at someone and say this is a blue belt, whereas someone else might say this person isn't a blue belt yet. If your coach have high standards, it might take longer for a white belt to actually get to a blue belt. Whatever it is, you just need to trust in your coach. But after all this, we are still left with the question, what makes you a blue belt? Or how does a white belt become a blue belt? So in August of 2022, I got my blue belt. And it was actually a surprise for me because a lot of white belts actually got their blue belt and it took them about 2 years. For me, it took about 20 months. But for 6 of those months, I was actually unable to train because of COVID and lockdown. So really, it took me about 14 months to get my blue belt. So if you actually ask me, it was actually really quick and I wasn't actually quite ready for it. So about a month after I got my blue belt, I actually asked my coach, what does he actually look for in a white belt before he promotes them into a blue belt? And to my surprise, the answer was relatively simple. Again, everyone will have a different answer to this. So what your head coach thinks is going to be very different from what my coach thinks. But I'm sure there are some criteria that will overlap. So if you actually had a conversation like this with your head coach, I'd like to know what they think as well. Just leave it in the comments below and I'll definitely respond. So anyway, here is a short list of criteria for a white belt to actually get promoted to their blue belt. The first thing he said was not surprising at all. He just said that they need to be calm and not spazzy. If you don't know if you're a spaz or not, I'll leave a link to another video so you can actually diagnose yourself to see if you're actually a spazzy white belt or not. Needless to say, being a spazzy white belt is not good, and you don't want your gym to have blue belts that are still spazzy. In a nutshell, if you're thrashing around, muscling your way in and out positions, chances are you're gonna hurt someone, and therefore you're probably a spazzy white belt. And number 2, he just said they just need to know 1 or 2 techniques on how to escape from a basic pin. So basically what he said is you just need to know 1 or 2 escapes to escape from knee on belly, side control, north-south, close guard, mount, or back mount. But really, this is something that all white belts should know because they spend a lot of time there. And if you're having trouble actually escaping from any of these pins, you definitely need to work on it and not just focusing on getting submissions. But in saying that, this also leads to number 3. They should also know a few basic submissions from each of these positions. You don't have to be good at them, you just need to know how to do them. And you don't even need to pull it off, you just need to know and actually try and attempt it. If you get it, you get it. That's good. If you don't, then try again. And obviously the basic understanding of playing guard and how to pass guard. Again, you don't have to be good at them, you just need to know how to. And this is actually really hard to demonstrate, to be honest. But if you have a mad coach, he'll definitely understand and know whether you're ready for your blue belt. I don't know about you, but I thought this was a pretty simple list and a very simple answer. The answer he gave me wasn't very specific at all. The answer wasn't anything like you need to know a triangle from close guard or how to do an armbar from mount. So it's pretty much what he's saying is you can do whatever you want as long as you know how to submit and escape from these pins. And you just need to know the basic understanding of playing guard and how to pass guard. So honestly, you can actually get a lot of this skill from just going to class consistently. Just trust in the system and train consistently. Like I said earlier in this video, if you have had this conversation with your coach before, do let me know in the comments below. Let me know how that went and if it's actually different from what my coach thinks a blue belt should know. Anyways, thank you for tuning in and I'll see you in the next one.